Welcome back to the Will Cain Show. It's a busy day on Capitol Hill. The White House's $9.4 billion federal spending cut package is set to hit Congress at any moment. The proposal locks in some of DOJ's efforts to slash government spending. Congress will have 45 days to approve the package. However, members of the House Freedom Caucus are urging their colleagues to vote on this proposal immediately. My next guest met with Speaker Mike Johnson this week to discuss these spending cuts. And joining me now is the Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vought. We want to start out this segment, Director, with acknowledging what you and I were just talking about. I got an email from your sister. She said, Will, I love the show. Please start pronouncing his name correctly. It's not Vought. It is Director Vought. So I read your emails, and the correction has now been made live on air to you, Director.
God bless older sisters.
I'm so happy to turn out that it really was your older sister, and it really was a correction. It is Vought, not Vought. Speaking of votes, though, by the way, let's talk about this rescission package, $9.4 billion in spending cuts as suggested by DOJ. Of course, it's well short of what Elon wants, what Elon has proposed through DOJ. What is your reaction to that? Is this the beginning? Is this the first rescission package? And what much more can we expect?
It is. I think what everyone needs to understand about how we've constructed the strategy to make the DOJ cuts permanent is that different funding amounts are different under the law. And so some things are multi-year, some things are funds that expire at the end of the fiscal year. And in this particular amount, it's very important that it pass. And as we gauge the congressional appetite to lock these into law, we have chosen what we think are the easiest: Corporation for Public Broadcasting, NPR, the foreign aid, some of the worst examples that you can come up with. Send those to the Hill, and our conversations with the Hill have been very good in terms of the House going to be putting this on the floor next week. But this needs to not only get through the House and the Senate. If it doesn't pass, we have to then release the funds, and it has to be spent. And so there are consequences for congressional failure, and we want to gauge that because, Will, we have other tools that are at our disposal, pocket rescissions, using the tools at the end of the fiscal year so that without Congress, the funding will lapse. Right. And even impoundment, which is also a possibility as well, where we are dusting off muscle memory that existed for 200 years before President Nixon in the 1970s, and Congress acted to try to take away the president's ability to spend less than their ceiling that they would provide in an appropriation. So we are intending to be strategic, work with Congress, see what they're willing to do, and if they pass us, we'll send up many more.
Okay, two quick questions really quickly then. So it sounds like you need Congress to act. It also sounds like you're on a bit of a timeline to get some of these cuts passed, but you also want to put forward several rescission packages, like you just said. Do you have time to forward to Congress several of these rescission packages to get these DOJ cuts higher?
We do have time. Again, it's about political will, particularly in the Senate, but we'll see where we are in the House next week. And I had a great conversation with the chairman of the Appropriations Committee and the Speaker yesterday. But it's about political will. And again, it has to pass both the House and the Senate. If the DOJ cuts, if there's not a political will to get the scale of what we've put forward in terms of fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26, again, we have tools that are in place by the end of the fiscal year to make these cuts permanent, and we fully plan to do that as we move forward in the process.
Speaking of political will, I have to ask you about the big, beautiful bill. I mentioned Elon. He is not a fan. He has posted on X about the fact that he thinks it's going to explode the deficit. He doesn't like the big, beautiful bill. You at OMB and others in the administration have pointed out, and people watching on screen can see exactly what Elon has said. Shame on those who vote for it, he says. I know if you're doing wrong if you vote for it and you know it. I believe your response, Stephen Miller and others, have been the deficit projections are congressional, or rather Washington, D.C. accounting tricks, and President Trump has said it's not counting on growth. But Elon sees it very different from you, Director.
He does, and one of the reasons that it's because the Congressional Budget Office has a contrived view of what the current law, current policy baseline is, and as a result, they assume that spending is eternal and that tax reliefs with artificial sunsets are meant to actually occur, even though in the real world, even under Democratic administration, some version of tax relief would be extended. And so this has historic tax relief, but much of it is the extension of the president's incredible reforms to the tax code in 2017. And this bill, when you have an accurate baseline, an accurate view of the world that everyone would understand if they got inside our kind of accounting shoes, they would know that this is a $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings.
Right. Okay. Director Vogt, thank you so much for being with us and starting that discussion. I appreciate it. Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.